The Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger in 1951. This isn't a tale of grand adventure or glorious triumph. Instead, it's a poignant story of loneliness, confusion, and the painful search for meaning in a world that feels overwhelmingly fake. Our protagonist is Holden Caulfield, a teenage boy wandering the streets of New York City, desperately trying to find anything real in a society he dismisses as phony. His story is raw, brutally honest, and utterly unforgettable. So, let's join Holden on his journey through the disillusionment of youth. Our narrator, Holden Caulfield, begins his tale from a rest home in California, where he's recovering from a mental breakdown. He takes us back to the few days before Christmas that led him there, the days that changed everything. Holden has just been expelled from Pensy Prep, a prestigious private school. He's failed most of his classes, with the exception of English. He's supposed to head home in a few days, but he can't bear the thought of facing his parents just yet. To make matters worse, his history teacher, Mr. Spencer, summons him for a final lecture, urging him to think about his future. But Holden isn't really listening. He is repulsed by the hypocrisy he sees everywhere. At school, from classmates who feign sincerity to teachers who act superior, all obsessed with the shallow game of success. In Holden's eyes, everyone is a phony. The final straw comes after a fight with his arrogant roommate, Stradlater, who has just been on a date with Holden's old friend, Jane Gallagher, a girl Holden cherishes in his memory. Fed up, Holden decides to leave Pensy Prep early. With a little cash in his pocket, he boards a train to New York City. His plan: hole up in a hotel until Wednesday, when his parents are scheduled to receive the expulsion letter. This marks the beginning of his wandering, a lonely, restless journey through the city that never sleeps. Holden arrives in New York late at night and checks into a cheap hotel. From his window, he observes strangers in other rooms, lonely people, just like him, all pretending to be something they're not. Though he's only 16, he tries to act older, calling up acquaintances and ordering drinks at the hotel bar. He even dances with a group of women, tourists from Seattle. But the interaction feels hollow and meaningless. Everywhere Holden looks, he sees the same thing: people putting on a facade, chasing fleeting pleasures, and avoiding any semblance of truth. He craves genuine connection, but consistently pushes people away. In a moment of acute loneliness, he hires a prostitute named Sunny. However, when she arrives, he finds he doesn't want sex. He just wants to talk. The encounter leaves him feeling awkward, innocent, and more lost than ever. When he refuses to pay her full fee, she returns with her pimp, who roughs him up and takes his money. Sitting alone in the dark afterward, Holden's thoughts drift to his own funeral. He thinks about his younger brother, Ali, who died of leukemia years ago. This loss shattered him. To Holden, Ali was the embodiment of purity, kindness, and honesty, everything the world around him is not. He still finds himself talking to Ali as if he were still alive, a ghost of innocence in a phony world. The next morning, Holden has a chance encounter with two nuns at a breakfast counter. They discuss literature *, Romeo and Juliet *, the Bible, and for a brief moment, he feels a sense of peace. Their genuine kindness moves him deeply, and he donates some of his dwindling money, wishing the world had more people like them. But the feeling doesn't last, and he's soon adrift again. His thoughts turn to Jane Gallagher, the girl he once cared for so deeply. She's one of the few people he truly respects. He fondly remembers playing checkers with her. She always kept her kings in the back row, a detail that, to him, symbolized her innocence and thoughtfulness. He wants to call her, but something stops. He may be fear, maybe pride. Instead, Holden goes on a date with Sally Hayes, a girl he knows from a previous school. They see a play, go ice skating, and he impulsively suggests they run away together to live in a cabin far from society's phoniness. When Sally laughs off his romantic, desperate plan, he explodes, calling her a royal pain in the neck. She leaves in tears. It's another severed connection, another moment of potential intimacy destroyed. Holden continues his wandering, drifting through movie theaters and bars, his mind consumed with thoughts of death, love, and childhood. He feels a desperate need to protect something pure, something untouched by the lies and compromises of adulthood. Late at night, desperate for someone to talk to, Holden sneaks into his family's apartment to see his younger sister, Phoebe. She's his favorite person in the world. Curious and refreshingly unfiltered. When she learns he's been expelled again, she scolds him, asking, "Is there anything you like at all?" Holden struggles to answer, a question that forces him to confront how truly lost he is. He then confides in her his one true dream, the one that gives the book its name. He imagines himself standing in a vast field of rye, where children are playing near the edge of a cliff. His job is to be the one who catches them if they get too close to falling. "I'd just be the catcher in the rye and all," he explains. It's a powerful metaphor for his desire to save innocence before it's corrupted by the adult world. Before he leaves, Phoebe gives him her Christmas money. Overwhelmed by her love and generosity, he breaks down and cries. He then seeks out Mr. Antolini, his old English teacher and one of the few adults he respects. Mr. Antolini offers him a place to stay and some much-needed warning Holden that he's heading for a fall. He suggests that meaning is found not in rebellion, but in learning and compassion. However, later that night, Holden wakes up to find Mr. Antolini patting his head as he sleeps. Startled and confused by the gesture, Holden panics. Feeling betrayed once again, he quickly leaves. His last trusted adult figure, now another source of confusion and fear. The following day, Holden wanders through Central Park, feeling sick and exhausted. He watches the ducks on the frozen pond, wondering where they go in the winter, a question that has been haunting him. The ducks symbolize survival, a mystery of endurance that he can't seem to figure out for himself. He makes a decision. He's going to leave New York, hitchhike out west, and start a new life, pretending to be a deaf mute to avoid having phony conversations. But first, he must say goodbye to Phoebe. He arranges to meet her at the Central Park carousel. To his shock, Phoebe arrives with a suitcase, insisting on coming with him. Holden firmly refuses, and they argue. She begins to cry. To make peace, he buys her a ticket for the carousel and watches her ride. The scene is simple children laughing, music playing, but for Holden, it feels sacred. As he watches Phoebe on the spinning carousel, reaching for the gold ring, something shifts inside him. He has a profound realization. He can't be the catcher in the rye. He has to let her reach for her own rings, take her own risks, and live her own life. For the first time in the entire story, Holden feels something approaching peace. He sits on a bench in the pouring rain, smiling and crying at the same time, just watching his sister go round and round. Our story ends where it began, with Holden in the rest home, finishing his tale for a therapist. He admits, almost reluctantly, that he misses everyone he has told us about Uvan, the people he relentlessly called phonies. And that is the quiet heartbreak of Asterisk, the catcher in the rye. Asterisk. Holden's cynicism is a shield for a deep-seated longing for connection, for innocence, and for love. J.D. Salinger's novel is more than just a story of teenage angst. It's a profound meditation on grief, the painful transition into adulthood, and the search for meaning in a world that often feels hollow. Holden Caulfield's voice, raw, cynical, yet so deeply human, continues to resonate with generations of readers who have ever felt lost, confused, or alone. And perhaps that is what makes this book so timeless. It reminds us that behind every act of rebellion, there is often a cry for understanding. Thank you for joining this summary of The Catcher in the Rye. If you enjoyed this journey, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing for more classic novel summaries. Until next time, keep reading and keep thinking.